Let's move on to the next game, which is going to be JDXL versus Vanir. If I'm not incorrect on this one, it's going to be a spicy one. JDXL coming in from a massive victory in our Monday. Vanir as well need to step up. What can we expect?
I think we can expect a bloodbath from Eminence.
Nice.
The king of volatility is going to be back at it again. I hope to see him play something that he's good on, like gives me a lot of agency to just go wild. I want to see him like on the melee assassins, melee bruisers kind of stuff that I know he's really good on.
I want to see him on a melee assassin too.
Not Katrina. Either way, and I want to see how they keep drafting around it, because when you draft these champions, it affects the whole team, and maybe they have to bring up some more mages on Kreis to like make up for it, because I know historically Kreis has been really good on stuff like Vladimir Rice. Maybe he can bring those out again, and they can create like an identity like this that's gonna really take a lot of teams off guard. That could be fun, but either way, I want to see a lot of fighting and I want to see a lot of blood.
I mean, we're talking about Eminence, and he can play pretty much everything. He said in an interview he only needs at least 15 games to be comfortable with the champion, and this is
Oh
why.
my god!
This is what he played in
Okay.
Spring Split.
I made a joke to our production and I was like, give me Eminence's champion pool from last split. I don't care if it fills the entire screen. And it actually filled the
does.
entire screen.
So you feel comfortable when you know your mid laner can play this amount of champions.
I mean, yeah, there's a Aphelios
That
there.
smile.
Yeah.
Aphelios mid, yeah.
Okay, that was a loss. I'm just gonna hand
Okay.
But it was not due to Aphelios mid. Not only. The thing is, we're going to reach a point eventually where we're going to bring the champion pool, and it's going to be like a print screen of the entire champion pool in League of Legends.
Yeah.
It's unpredictable. So how can you draft from the Vanir side versus JDXL versus Eminence, for instance? Toughy. That's a toughy.
That's a toughie. I would say. So who's blue side? Do we know that?
That's what I was about to say. If they're blue side, at some point they're gonna show Eminence's pick,
JDXL
right?
is blue side.
JDXL is blue side. Okay, so that makes it harder for Vanir to make a plan, because when you're red side in this meta, I think you have usually two locked bans in Wukong Talia. That's what most teams ban on red side on this patch. So it makes it hard to make like a complete draft plan, because you kind of have to adapt to what JDXL has, because JDXL has like free open bans, so they can do whatever they want. They can ban free AD carries if they feel like it, just to like screw with their head or something, you know? I don't know. They can just do whatever they want, really. So as for Vanir, they gotta be flexible, and they gotta keep an eye on their prior picks. They gotta know what they want to play and just draft around that.
Before we jump into Champion Select, Trouble, what do you believe JDXL have to be aware versus Vanir on the other side of the coin?
I felt like Vanir played their team fights fantastically. They created a composition where it was all about building and kiting backwards and making sure they protect their AD carry. They also had the Zarya on Monday, and I think it worked perfectly. They knew exactly how to team fight, and they used the buttons properly, and they used the vision and the choke points properly to kite through there. But like, if we go on the other side of the coin, we know that JDXL really likes to split them up. They like to have two solo laners pushing on the sides. They like to have a 3-core member, maybe the jungle shadow in one of the solo laners, so they can play multiple styles. Whilst I've only seen this iteration of Vanir once, and even though it looks stellar in team fighting, well, JDXL did the same.
So we're trying to think what's going to happen. Might as well jump into Champion Select and see what is going to happen between JDXL versus Vanir. JDXL with the blue side, Vanir on the red side. And there's a lot of new members in Vanir. JDXL, though, are keeping almost the same roster, but if we look into the bot side, Vincent and FGG. Rel is still a thing, and we saw his Rel in the previous split. It is a menace. You cannot play versus that. So do you even think about removing the Rel, or is it no longer a problem?
I don't think FTG's role will be the problem right now, because there's that many more champions that are so much more problematic than FTG's role. And even though he's an absolute god on the champion, and he could be picked here very well, I think the Gallios, the Talias, the Lucians are so much more of a problem. Now, the thing that I'm like scratching my head for right here is the fact that they're banning away all the scaling champions away from Kreis. Like Finn has mentioned as well, he has played the Vladimir, who plays a very similar role to the Gwen on the top side of the map, very hard scaling AP source of damage as well. And Talia is going to be banned from the side of JDXL here, so the Lucian is still up for grabs.
Wukong
is still up for grabs.
We're gonna see what happens here. Vanir targeting the top pool, as you say, GP and Gwen being the most played champions in the top lane. If Kreis does not pick his top lane in the first 3, it gives them 2 more bans to target top with, and that could actually make the top lane pool go very deep. There is Illusion first pick, as we expect, should come out in this sort of situation.
But for who?
No, it could go anywhere, but usually it does go bot lane these days. Just because, not because of the Lucian, but because Nami Lucian is just such a powerful combo. Some people even say that like Nami is the real reason it's OP. Either way, it's just a super strong champion right now, and I do expect it to go bot. Do like the Nautilus pick, very nice champion, enjoyable, and the Lee Sin just like being, I guess their preferred jungle of choice, which I said, like if you know what champion you want, you have to pick it and draft around it.
I think right here it's going to be a telltale on where maybe the Lucian goes as well, because you might want to draft a support with him on the bot side of the map. So the Lucian Braum is like a very prominent duo together with the Lucian Nami, because the Braum's passive pops so easily due to the double auto coming in from the Lucian's passive as well, so you can proc the stun really quickly. Now the question is, what do you want to play into the Lee Sin right here? Because there's still picks like, for example, the Nocturne that you can play into the Lee Sin.
There you go.
Listen.
Yeah, you call it?
It's the Nocturne.
I think it's a great pick for JDXL. It opens up because now you'll get counter picking at least one solo lane due to how the draft is going. So by picking the Nocturne and getting counter picking one solo lane, you can pretty much secure a strong side laner, which gives the Nocturne a lot of options. Also, I do like the Braum instead of going for the Nami, just because they picked the Nautilus away. It does fare a little bit better into Nautilus than the Nami does, and does help a lot in the Fury Freeze bot side.
It's not the same damage, but the lock-in that you can provide with Lucian and Braum is ridiculous. Tell me, Trouble.
I want to see what MNS is going to choose to bring here, because I would love to see backline dive. I would love to see there a Lissandra, lights down, Lissandra dives from a flank, nobody sees her stun, somebody dives together with the Nocturne. I'd love to see an Akali, I'd love to see a Camille possibly coming in from Crash, the top side of the map, because we mentioned on the Singularity draft, you don't want to have just your Nocturne diving straight into the backline. Vanir is on the case as well. Lissandra is going to be taken out, not just because of the backline access that she has with the claw, but also because he's really hard to play when you're playing the Ahri. He locks you down. You have so much setup for your Nocturne just walking even pre-6.
I'm seeing that naughty smile. You're thinking about something. Tell me.
I want MNS to pick Aurelia for me right now. If he doesn't pick Aurelia, I'll be severely disappointed. I wanted to pick Aurelia and then pick something like Vladimir on top. And I think their draft is completely good, completely flawless for the team. Just because I know that MNS is a fantastic Aurelia player, and I think he can do great things on this champion. And it really fits with their comp and their other champions already.
And you favor the Aurelia versus the Ahri?
It's a very good match for Aurelia, I would say. A lot of solo kill pressure. Our missteps once, because it's by one stun when she stacks up. Zing, 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 you're dead, bitch.
And there you go, finishing the bans at this point is going to be Tristana and JDXL to wrap it up. Let's see what they're going to bring, because Irelia should be fun here, and I know you really enjoy Irelia.
It's a really fun champion to play.
Yeah, I've seen
just because of the dopamine kicks you get when you're like dashing around and you're out playing 1v2.
Let's see if
it's a lot of fun.
Okay.
Kaisa?
So you've got a bunch of choice here if you're MNS, right? You've got Akali and you've got LeBlanc. That was his most prominent champion last season. It was the first champion that he double-picked for the first time last season. It does pretty well into Ahri. It's a skill matchup that if the LeBlanc knows how to play really well, you usually demolish the Ahri in the mid lane. The Nocturne plus LeBlanc lights out, Assassin jumps in, somebody completely disappears, and you can reach the backline as well. 3 squishes so far on my screen, the Lee Sin, the Ahri, and the Ezreal. Really good targets for LeBlanc. That's very mobile. Or
can I just say, Poppy would be amazing. Look at the dashes coming in from Vanir. If you pick that,
the top lane has not been picked yet. You know?
I would love to. I know it's not going to happen, but I would love to see it. LeBlanc for the 3rd time.
Here. Oh, or the Gnar.
Gnar, okay.
Okay.
So let's see what they counterpick this with, because Gnar, some people think it's a good blind, some people think it's a very vulnerable blind. It has a lot of options, but Aurelia is a classic counterpick into Gnar. Rumble not as common, but some people do prefer it. Aatrox, I'm not a fan of. Okay, I'm gonna stop talking about hovers. Either way,
now you understand.
Either way, the LeBlanc is a nice pick because it does set up for. It does set up the ganks on the Ahri pretty well, especially after level 6. I think if Ahri like walks up, gets hit by Shane, I do think they have enough damage to actually burst her down before she can dash out twice.
Okay, so my only issue right here is that I'm seeing 2 champions with immediate effects on a side lane, and that's Nocturne and LeBlanc. So when you have a champion that usually wants to take control of a side lane, such as Aatrox, and then be a complete menace when it comes to team fights later on, right? And chase you down, if they put Hess0 down, if they shove him away completely from the game, this Aatrox is gonna take a while to get into the game. So my eyes go straight into the two mid jungles to see when they're gonna start moving first, because that Nocturne is gonna speed run to level 6, and the Lee Sin might be trying to make plays early on.
Yeah.
Level 6 is going to be amazing for one of these teams, and one of these teams may be on the securing that first place, trying to tie it up. Who do you think is going to take it at the end of the day, Finn?
I think JDXL is pretty favored looking from the draft. I think the Aatrox pick was a bit poor. I think they could have done better with that, but I do like the JDXL draft a lot.
So it's a JD angle for you. What about you, Drew?
An unbiased opinion.
Last one.
Biased.
Last one with unbiased opinion.
+1, so 2-0 for Vanir. I'm not going to say my point, and I'll toss it to the casters that are ready to take this into Summoner's Rift.
Thank you so much, Arsharam and crew. Pretty heavy XL favor from our two analysts on the desk. And I think considering what we saw from them on day one and how many options Dan has in this game, I'm inclined to agree.
Yeah, I mean, we just look at the Vanir's draft, right? They just kind of have to play heavily for the mid-jungle, while, I mean, JDXL, they feels like they can kind of pick their table. They have like kind of a smorgasbord, Goodbye, we know what that is, of options to play through.
It's great. Anyway, mid-jungles are where we've got to keep our eyes. We are going to now head on into the Rift to see how it all plays out. We've got a Nocturne versus LeBlanc. We've got a Lee Sin, Ahri. Level 6 hits for XL and nothing has happened in that mid lane. I get nervous.
Yeah, I mean, rightfully so, right? I just want to see this Nocturne. We saw it from Singularity on Monday. It did not look convincing at all. This time around, though, I really want to see them just get Nocturne to 6, play from there with their heavy mid-jungle style, and honestly, as I mentioned, they can just go to the side. Do you want to play for the top side with the Gnar, or do you just want to make sure that the Illusion is going to be dumpstering people? Vanir now, though, not gonna be looking to go quiet into the Rift once again, some vision early.
And we've seen a lot of Nautilus Braum today. Quite a lot, in fact, significantly more than I was anticipating. Both champions are notoriously very potent at level 1. There was a bit of a look in there from Vanir to see whether anybody could get caught out, but it'll just be a warden for the red buff. A little more to be found right now.
Yeah, and one thing that surprises me the most...
Look at your eyes, you look a little bit quizzical.
I'm a bit shocked. I'm not sure if this is intended or not. Venser, I respect you, man. Ignite on Lucian.
Okay.
Against Ahri, Ezreal, don't you want exhaust or heal? I mean, you don't. Let's see if he can.
So I mean, this is Venser.
Yeah.
And this is a guy who, for most of, for like the first half to 2/3 of spring, did a little bit of trolling, did a little bit of inting. He was the death leader by quite a significant margin for AD carries. He had a very large share of the death for his team over on Dusty. And then things started turning around. We saw Caitlyn Lux lanes, we saw an incredible playoffs run where Venser absolutely slapped kids. It was brutal, brutal stuff. And this is kind of the playstyle. It's all in, it's very aggro. You've got Lucian Braum, which is a kill lane to begin with. Add in the Ignite to make sure it's Venser that picks up the kills. I see it. It is just very front foot, shall we say.
Yeah, not something I've seen in quite some time, but if you tell me that Venser, maybe he knows this, like he knows that he's gonna be having maybe quite a lot of deaths in the early split and just saying, I mean, hey man, just give into it, get the Ignite, go to play for the kill lane, maybe he trades some kills. If you trade 1 for 2, right, you're super happy. And let's see if he can make it work. I'm gonna have to ask him after the game if it's intended or not, but nevertheless, respectable. We see both junglers pathing the bot side, but
they are indeed. Little ways off as, of course, Lee Sin has got to that level 3 nice and early. Dan trying to get to that level 6 as quick as he can. We'll check in with the fans at home as well while we're waiting to see what things going on. The mighty Duck Nana checking it out from a very fancy looking workstation, battle station. Look at that keyboard, LGB. I am well jealous.
That is the cleanest setup we've seen so far. You know, we saw we've seen a lot of cute pictures. We saw the first one, about to touch on grass, but I'm not gonna talk about that. That's not enough, because Crazy is looking for bot side.
Trying to see whether XL are at their battle stations. A good dash away from Venser, but it's still a 2 versus 3. The door has done a lot of work for FGG thus far. Ignite and Exhaust go down, trying to go in. First blood to Kraox. Flash now out from Venser. Remember, there is no heal. He's burned that Ignite, and the Summoner spell will bite him in the butt as Kraox picks up a second.
Super creative gank there from Kraox. He knows that this bush is warded here at the little brush outside the lane, and
yeah.
I mean, he just knows it. He just goes for this, skips the camp. We saw Pop doing the same thing around the last game, but he did not get quite the kills for it. But Kraox now with double kill is gonna base. really early, not even gonna finish his blue buff, gonna do that later. And I mean, super creative there from Vanir. Good shit.
We've seen all summoners down on that bot side now, plus Kraox's flash edition as Ericsson will get the solo kill. M&S thought he had it, couldn't quite make it work. The Ignite's not enough. And that's a 0-1 for our solo kill leader in the mid lane, who decides to donate one over to his lane opponent.
The solo kill king getting soloed by Ericsson. I think he wanted to pop the Ignite there, was not in range enough, but I mean, just look here, just looks super easy, right? Venser has to push in the wave, and Nautilus uses the flash. Looks super clean from there. They actually get all of the summoners as well. Even the Ignite from Venser. Not sure the heal would have saved them, but two good kills for
Yeah, and I gotta call it. They tried to fight that in the 2v3, and honestly, it kind of got a bit messy there. I think Venser could have just given that one up. Unfortunately, the moment we saw FGG flash, and there was still the Q1 to get Lee Sin behind the Lucian as well. A few things were wrong, and then there's this solo kill in mid lane.
Yeah, I mean, this is just the kind of what can happen sometimes, right? I mean, super clean E there actually from M&S. If he gets the Ignite off just a bit sooner, Ericsson's just dead. But I mean, obviously, well played from Ericsson. Manages to stay calm in that exchange, and now the bot wave is kind of rough for XL. Not gonna lie.
It's not great. Zaremba's here, as is Kraox. He's back in at the scene of the crime. I'm gonna see whether they get some more. Of course, Vanir are currently 1-0. Remember, this is a team that changed out their whole roster. And they actually, honestly, had a pretty good showing in spring. It wasn't championship winning, but it was a strong showing. They were a solid fourth in the split. As M&S takes a hefty trade that goes Ericsson's way, especially they're missing the chains there. LeBlanc, as spoken to me by Nightmare, is someone who's happy to take those HP trades into the RE over the minion trades, because you can just trade that out a little bit better with more spells available. But at the minute, Ericsson, now with the level 6, could well look for even more punish, and that's another reset from M&S. Probably when he doesn't want to be there as Zaremba on the bot side. Gonna try and trade this one up, but Dan is around. Zaremba gonna get traded back. Remember, he's only level 3. FGG goes down. That'll be Merps picks that one up, but it's a 1-for-1 this time. Dan gets that one. Now Venser and Dan trying to trade those out. The Ignite comes down because, of course, they've got it. It's gonna be one back, and they'll make it a 3-for-2 all in all.
Damn. I mean, Venser with the Ignite just coming back up, making sure he gets dividends from taking that summoner. And I mean, I thought for sure Vanir was gonna get that fight going, but you see the power of Braum, even though he goes down, manages to get the passive off, and it's just history from there.
There's Ericsson who's come down. That's the power of having the pressure in mid lane. Pops the ultimate. Venser trying to trade up best they can. Actually doing a lot of work now. Ericsson in danger. No mana and no ultimate, so Roam's bot doesn't get anything for it. Venser gets out alive, and we'll see this play again.
Yeah, I mean, obviously both top supporters kind of trading each other, and then Venser with the Ignite. I think I was sure Vanir was gonna win this fight with the Lee Sin, with the Merps, with the full stack on this passive. But JDXL kind of looks like they just one-tap them. That is not gonna happen next week in the durability patch. Let me tell you that.
You've decided that's the way it is. We saw a shadow flying overhead there from something or somewhere. As Hezero gonna get chunked out pretty heavily. Dan is around, but he's gonna try to get his turn fleeing. He's gonna get some healing back from those Dark Blades. Flash for the Q3, and FGG goes down.
Yeah, I mean, FGG looks super good, right? He just has time, has kind of free time to go up to the top side. But now when he dies like this is illegal. You cannot do this, because now you're kind of forcing Venser to give up at least some farm. And he's going to be able to respect this. M&S though
gets ignited. The chains go wide though, and that will mean Kraox gets out alive. No flash. He would have died there. Yeah. Unfortunately, 3 chains down. That will be the summoner cost from M&S, but force him out of the jungle. He'll be able to heal off of wolves and probably be just fine.
Yeah, and this just gives, I mean, a good play there from M&S, right? Good try. Doesn't get Kraox in the end, but this gives Ericsson another opportunity to kind of go and pressure onto the bot side. XL's bot lane really have to play safe here.
And remember, M&S has gone for the Ignite, not the teleport, and that's now 2 attempts at the solo kills that haven't quite worked out. Both have been pretty close, let's be fair. Right now, it's not quite worked out, and Ericsson will likely have that advantage with the teleport coming up in about 2 minutes or so. Of course, the last time we went for the roam didn't really make it work out, but Kraox, replacing Noodle of all people, 4 1-on-1 on this Lee Sin. Creative Gangpot gets a double kill down there, is continuing to be a nuisance for the side of JDXL, who looked so dominant in their first game. Good stuff from Vanir right now to start themselves up. Yeah, not that far ahead, but the proactivity has been good to see.
Yeah, I mean, no, for sure, right? And Kraox, you know, one of those junglers that we talked about in the pregame show, both today and on a Monday. Diamond Prox, you know, obviously coming in with so much hype to the league. But Kraox actually was one of the junglers who were able to kind of match him in the LCL last time around. And now seeing
the other 4-0 player.
Yes, you now see him kind of pop off in this early game. And Vanir being already 1-0 down and now have the lead against JDXL. with what I would say is not a favorable draft at all. I think JDXL still has so many tools
for sure.
to play through, but now they get this Herald and they can kind of decide the tempo of the game.
Hear ye, level 6 has been hit for Nocturne, prepare for some paranoia. It's not quite Halloween, but Nocturne will do the best to put a cosplay onto the Rift. Anyway, time to see how much impact you can get out of that first ultimate. Doesn't have much in the way of CDR as yet, though, because that's looking like a very strict rush towards a Stridebreaker. I know the likes of Kobe and Azael from over in NA do really rate some early CDR stacking before you pop that ultimate to make sure you get more coming through, as Cries, trying with Hesira, just going to get a fairly decent trade here. There is a World Ender that's going to have to be popped. Cries now down into Mini, going to take a massive chunk, needs to be a little afraid. But gets away with that one as Kraox is bot side.
Yeah, he surely is, but Dan is here as well. It's gonna be a fight here.
Turn around, and that's the passive already brought Winter's Bite's coming through. A kill to Venzu, who hasn't popped the igniters yet. Culling now coming through. Merps to take that much damage. The Sonic Wave lands, but will there be a Resonant Strike? There is. Flash under tower, trying to get some more. It's 2 back as Merps gets a hold of Braum. Now he's gonna try and look for Venzu as well. No heal, no hope. M&S is here, but Ericsson under the tower gonna use the ultimate to just home in and make that one free. Has got another charge of the ultimate to keep going forward. M&S going to try and hop forward. Has Zero trading up with Cries on the top side. Big chunks comes through, force a flash out from the Abyssal Chains, and M&S can't make anything happen in the bot side. Vanir, their plays are coming out favored right now.
I just love to see these teams where you would expect JDXL coming in as kind of huge favorites after this game. You know, they
completely.
Had, even though they were kind of they didn't quite get to their full potential last split around where they got knocked out by Riddle. But obviously, you look at their players, you would think they have an edge. But Vanir, they are not scared to take these fights. And I mean, they just pop the Herald now on bot side. They get a couple of kills, and they're just outplaying them basically.
They are right now, and a lot of that is on this Lee Sin getting so far ahead. Sessio just deletes Vanir. A Q order will get it one now. Dan is going to try and win this one at best they can. It is a 1v2, but not for long as FGG is here. That will mean Dan gets the kill. FGG is not required, but he'll take the XP regardless. At least it's a 1-for-1. But remember, Kraox can start putting pressure on elsewhere. They're going to get plates in mid lane. And that is still going to be Vanir making sure it's not a trade for nothing.
Yeah, and speaking about outplays, right, we're gonna see this bot reaper first. Looks so good initially, right, for for JDXL, they don't get one-tapped on the engage. They managed to get the Saremba. FGG also, you know, popping the stopwatch really clean there, but I mean, they're just getting so shanked in this exchange, and Ericsson has had the move from mid first so many times in this early game, and it just shows here, they're just able to fight.
Does indeed get there early, and of course when you see the kick that forces the Nocturne away from the other damage dealers, he can't keep trading, kicks him through 2 people, the health bar lead gets too extreme, and then this one is just a little bit too much. Kraox has to flash, that comes to bite him back just a few moments later, because at this one, a Q auto just murders the Gnar.
Yeah, I mean, Hesira, once again, I mean, for sure he knows that Dan is coming here, right? But he doesn't care. He knows that the only way out is in. One shot Cries before he gets the Mega Gnar. Can't quite finish Dan off, but I mean, you know, that's kind of a mental edge already. You kind of 1v2ing. Actually, FGG showing up on the top side as well.
1v3, yeah.
Basically. So, I mean, huge respect for Hesira. This is one guy that I have like the least info from this team, actually. I haven't seen him quite so much.
So remember, this is a guy who was over on Team Esker. He was at EU Masters alongside a lot of the other players recently. Of course, there's been some discussion around the strength of the Polish teams in a lot of ways, because for the Ultraliga, they've bled a lot of players. So many of their players have gone on to LEC, to the LFL, to other regions. But Hesser was on that team, had a pretty good showing with UCAM, and is now here on Vanir, replacing the likes of Nile, and that's the kind of stuff you like to see coming in on a roster that's been completely replaced. Justifying that choice right now, it feels.
Yeah, and I mean, we talked about it in the show as well. There's such a flip, and not a flip, but such a huge investment to replace all of your players, especially when they did not have a bad split last time around at all. They were kind of performing well. To replace everyone, it's just super risky, very bold, yeah. But so far, paying off. Hesero, they're kind of playing well all over the map. Ericsson, you know, has got that solo kill early in the game, and M&S bit too greedy with that ignite, but looks just really solid. I'm just kind of curious now to see how it's gonna pan out in the mid game. We have JDXL with 1 Drake. Vanir, you know, could look to potentially contest the next one with that good river control that they currently have.
Yeah, there's wards absolutely everywhere. See whether the side of JDXL can clean them out in time. 30 seconds or so until that Drake. Both top laners will have teleport available, as Hezero now is available. Mega Nod just about up for Cries as well, so it will probably fall off before the Drake. And that will be a slight frustration for them, not quite timed perfectly. But either way, it's a 2,000 gold lead to the side of Vanir. No one right now feeling willing to go and stand in the river, though the zombie wards have turned what was a forest of red wards Vanir into a forest of blue for XL, and they'll now return the favor of sweeping out all that vision control.
Yeah, and I think this game is so much about like being first on the river. You don't see a lot of tanks on the side of each team anyways. So really hard to like phase check these. Get so much CC from coming in from Vanir, also from XL. So you really want to be first on river. And this next midway now, Drake has spawned, but this midway is actually really important because it gives you access to the river, and it looks like Vanir is gonna get it.
Absolutely, they are going to come in RXL to push them back out. MNS fighting for the mid-wave control, and they'll get the Skull Crab as well, will JDXL. But remember, Vanir going to start roaming around to see whether they can test as well. MNS on his side, Kraox has got Flash, Kick available, 5, 1, and 2 right now on the lead, and having a fantastic now as MNS gets out the Everfrost, continuing to try and keep Ericsson on his toes. Still just a little bit of a standoff, bit of a stalemate in the river.
Yeah, and this is not what we saw last game around. Like every time someone went to the river, Singularity just kind of got popped. Now both teams kind of playing a bit more respectfully. And I just have to say, actually, I'm not going to talk.
He's got the lane gank. Kraox is here, but Dan's behind. We saw this before. What will happen this time? There's the paranoia. Down goes Zaremba. Teleport now coming through from Meganar Cries. They're going to get some more. Land the Q onto Merge, but a little more. He's got a bit of a speed buff there from the teleport, but little more to be found. And they'll just retreat back to the Dragon. They've got the Nautilus. They'll take the Dragon as a surprise, unless Kraox can find a way to make this one work. Ericsson's over here. True Shot barrage is in. Ericsson into the back end. Doesn't really land the Everfrost, though. Still going to be a fight. Cries down in Mini. In comes the teleport from Azira. MNS going to come over. Dragon secured by Dan, but the Delph bars aren't fantastic. Kraox goes down, though. That'll be Venter who picks that one up, but it's 2 back already. FGG falls. It's a 3 for 1. And it is big shutdowns that will be coming across for Vanir. A double kill to Hezira, and I apologize, it was Venza who picked the shutdown, of course, onto Kraox, who fell in that fight.
Once again, I mean, Ericsson is just first to the fight. He managed to get in there. Kraox also gets in there. They did not manage to get the Drake, so Silver Line in there for XL, but I feel like MNS is just kind of, he's not lost, but they're just kind of disoriented with the team. He's not first there. He's not able to join the fight as fast as Ericsson is, and it just looks kind of free for Vanir. Obviously, JDXL first now. This is kind of identical gang than what happened. They're able to turn this around. But even then, Cries, you know, TPing maybe a bit excessive.
We're looking for a bit more, doesn't really get it, and they decide, right, with that extra man, we're going to go to get this Dragon. And they do secure it, but Ericsson's there first. And honestly, MNS on this other side, despite being level as Evan, despite being on his LeBlanc, doesn't really get all that much done.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of what you can kind of expect this though, right? I mean, Vanir playing for the bot side, yeah, XL also choosing to go for the bot side there. And I mean, I guess Ericsson just has the item completed. He has the Everfrost already, so of course he's gonna get prio in that lane, and then he just kind of straight sailing from there. He's first on the objective, and once again, XL gets the Drake, which I think it would have been quite a disaster if they didn't, because now they can still be able to stack it. It's gonna be an Infernal Soul. So I mean, not a bad Drake at all.
Oh. Big chunk though, and Emirates might be looking to get the solo kill anyway. It'll be a flash from Ericsson plus the ultimate to try and escape from dodge. In comes Dan, gets the kill. It's a shutdown, and the Ari goes down. Now look at the other side. That's a very dead Zaremba flashing away, and he's actually not quite as dead as I supposed. Just out of range of the culling. I thought he was dead to rights. Over the wall goes MNS with the blast cone, and they're going to get a hold of this blue buff as well. Vanir get away with only losing the one, but it does cost them a little bit more than they were hoping for.
And this is why you have to love a player like MNS, right? He's got solo kill there when he tried to dive Ericsson really early, but even now when he's behind, it doesn't matter. He's not scared to go for this plate, go for the solo kills, and there you get the shutdown onto Ericsson. Now MNS is gonna be able to stabilize this lane a bit.
It's slight leads for Ericsson and Mervs. Bit more of one for Cries as Kraox trading out with MNS will not hit the Sonic Wave and gets rooted in place by the Ethereal Chains, and MNS holds his nerve.
Yeah, I mean, he just looks super solid right now. We see also Dan, who actually feel like he's been kind of, not silent, but he's just been kind of counter-ganking.
He's got 100% KP, like he's been involved everywhere.
Yes, and he's also for his, like almost for the CS up on this knockdown. He's huge, man.
And remember, on the Monday, it was the Wukong that absolutely demolished X7 in the early game. Made MC's Nidalee very difficult to pilot, and then it was MNS later on in the game when the Akali really started picking up those solo kills. And Dan right now, kind of in that similar vein, the Nocturne that has been said to be pretty strong. little bit less counted this time because, of course, Vanir played against Singularity's Nocturne on Monday and had a full draft to make it difficult. This time around, not really able to shut that pick out. Was doing very well. 5, 2, and 3, up in farm, up in kills, 100% kill participation as already stated. Down in a very strong position here to potentially continue holding control for XL in this game. So M&S over the wall, gets a big chunk, but it's now going to be traded back out. M&S gets that one, a solo kill for the solo bolo kick.
And there we have him. I was just waiting, man. Like, when are we gonna get this? And 18 minutes into the game, he finally gets his first one. Might not be the last one, but this is actually so huge for XL. I was just looking at the Vanir's comp, and it felt like they're kind of having pressure everywhere right now, with the Aatrox on the side also being so super strong. They might fight this though, as mentioned.
Nocturne is down the ultimate, and they might feel this is okay. Here comes a teleport behind though, and now it's a 3v4. Ericsson, no teleport, still dev 10 seconds, in goes Kraox, but he has been exhausted. Now they're trying to run away. The culling comes through, gets a big chunk. Has Zero in a difficult position, down on a rampage. Will secure the side of Zaremba, who is crushed down in that river. Venza now having to dash away, takes a bit of a chunk, and the range from Merbs proving a little bit obnoxious as XL backing away from the Herald, continuing to try and look for pressure instead in this mid lane. Of course, with Infernal Drake spawning in 40 seconds, maybe to decide, look, the Herald less valuable than that right now.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, right, if JDXL can get his hands on this Drake as well, it's gonna put a lot of mental pressure onto Vanir. And they are gonna use this time to get the mid tower now. M&S basing, right? But this could mean that Hesir also needs to base maybe for the Drake, and he does have the teleport, but I mean, this Drake is just gonna be super important to get for both teams.
Of course, Vanir, despite losing the man, used the opportunity on reset, secure a mid lane tower, secure control of this river, because the fight they really want to go for is this Infernal Drake. Paranoia, though, is back up. Down will have that available for this fight.
Yeah, I mean, just look at the XL. They're gonna have almost every single flash coming up just in a few seconds, while Ericsson's flash is down. Hesir's flash gonna come back up, and Nova's flash also down. And now it's just about kind of the poke. I think Vanir is kind of in a comfortable state here. They still have first access to the river. Hesir's gonna TPing in. They're gonna start off with Drake.
And then S on a flank here. FGG down to half, and Zaremba and the rest of Vanir all very happy at that full HP. Dan goes in, but he's too little, too late. He's likely to go down, charmed up by Ericsson and secured by Merbs. Hesiro tanks the culling. M&S gonna get a decent root. Not quite enough damage, turn it back around, goes back in with a double distort. Trying to get some more damage, but he's been charred up and knocked down. But what can the rest of the team do? Kryze has been knocked over the wall by the kick, and as a result can't do anything with the Mega Gnar. And Vanir secure a triple kill for the rookie, the Div 2 player. Merbs on the Ezreal, looking to secure a fourth here. And it is there, a quadra kill, if slightly unofficial.
Wow.
For the Ezreal.
The Swedish AD carries today, man. They're just completely cracked. Michigan, the Samira completely 1v9, and now Merbs playing super solid in this fight. Lux looked so good initially, right? I mean, obviously Dan kind of forced to go for this play if he wants to get to the soul point, but after that, you feel like XL, they're just in chambers. They go for try to one-shot. M&S does so much damage, but it's not enough.
Yeah, and he can't get out to safety, and then Kryze is over the wall, the rest of the team is not, and suddenly you just don't get much else to do, and now this Ezreal, very, very dangerous at this point. We said, look, Aatrox not going to have the easiest time at this game. It's felt okay when people are diving into you at this point, and on the other side, Merbs increasingly difficult to deal with. 7-1 and 6, 3 items complete. M&S though, always a danger, continuing to try and threaten the likes of Kraox.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess Attila, you know, has the 26-minute rule, but here in Sweden, we have the 20-minute rule where you just completely go...
I think you'll find this is Germany, though I appreciate the fact.
I mean, super impressive for Merbs. He goes for the Eclipse as well, which is something that I really like when you're playing against these champs as LeBlanc, the Nocturne, also Lucian has a lot of burst.
Don't know how much this Aatrox wants to be there. Enough of your analysis. We've got fights to talk about. Hesiro is fleeing. Hesiro is dead.
Yeah, I mean, that's just... He was just feeling himself, really. He's just completely alone on the bot side, trying to pressure as much as he can, but not really enough. Gets caught. It's not gonna do a lot for the game state, but it's still really nice to get some gold there.
Over the wall. It's edge of your seat action. I'm hoping those seats are actually very comfortable, and that's one we've seen already, so I'll change that one around. There you go. Taju is looking very lovely with a projector on the wall, no less.
Yeah, and the only thing I can say is actually his bed seems kind of made, so I'm not going to flame him.
Okay, you were literally setting up to flame him. That's very rude. Hashtag NLC at home. I'll try not to replay tweets next time, eh? And what a beautiful projector setup you've got there.
Kind of leveling up.
Yeah, indeed. We've had some seriously good battle stations today. I am well impressed. Oh, NLC fans. You've done us proud.
Yeah, no, I mean, for sure. It's just kind of keep leveling up. You know, we saw the the touch the grass battle station at first, and then we're kind of leveling up with the insane looking setup on the third one, and now with the projector. What are we gonna see next? Someone watching in a cinema?
Clearly, I like that battle station so much, I subconsciously decided to bring it up twice. Though I appreciate that they've got the books to raise the monitor a little higher on that one, which was quite entertaining. Bringing it back to the game, though, as it stands. Only 1,000 gold apart. 1 dragon difference right now. Difference big time, though, is the map state, really. Only 1 turret for JDXL versus a couple for Vanir, including a critical one in the mid lane. M&S and Dan, though, going to continue trying to be as proactive in finding those picks as they can. On the side, we've called it already. Merbs on this Ezreal, Kraox on this Lee Sin. So deadly for their team right now.
Yeah, I mean, no, for sure, right? And I just feel like the momentum is kind of in his favor right now. Obviously, Merb's super strong on this Ezreal, and this is kind of the thing about Lucian as well. It's without the Nami, I think it's super hard to pilot in this team fight. It's so much easier for Ezreal, even if it's not this fed, to be able to dish out the damage. Vanir really has to play kind of pixel perfect in his upcoming fights. He has so many threats, right? The Ahri, the Lee Sin kick, the Hesera, who is super strong on his Aatrox. And let's see if Hesera is gonna get caught here. No, he's more safe this time around.
Honestly, for JDXL, they're looking for picks, for 3v2s, 3v3s even, rather than those big team fights where you can bring the LeBlanc and the Lucian and the Nocturne all together to blow up one person and then use that man advantage. It's not been as easy to find those as they would like. Some of those bot side 3v3s went unfortunately even for XL, where Vanir very happily picked up a number of those kills around there earlier. And now in some of these bigger team fights, we're seeing how powerful Vanir's comp can be. 30 seconds until another Infernal Drake is spawned. All the while, though, XL are deciding maybe not really in the position to fight it, going to use his time to split push a little instead.
Yeah, and I think it's a really good point that you bring up, right? I think XL for sure doesn't want to 5v5 right now into the likes of Vanir. That means that you're kind of gonna have to be forced to give up this Drake, which they can. I mean, Vanir still has so much long time when they get to the soul, but now when I say that, M&S based, it's still gonna be 10 seconds to Drake, but it looks like they're gonna contest it anyways.
Baron's up, so maybe they decide that if they can control the mid wave, they could threaten that, and they've got some damage on it, in fairness, just always a risky call. Dragon will now spawn in just here as M&S has arrived in time, looking to get over the wall, has thrown out a distortion, will have the Mimic available. Now that's down, and honestly, this Dragon is secured just like that. No real contest available for XL.
Yeah, and this makes me kind of confused, right? Obviously, I think we could both tell, obviously we have a map hack here, right? We can see everything that's going on the map. We kind of knew that XL was not going to be able to contest that, but I'm just kind of surprised to see M&S base in there. I think they could have gotten so much more, maybe even the tier 2 top. This is what you kind of have to do.
So M&S went over the wall and he was on a ward. They know he's there. They don't go quite well, though! Oh my god! Another solo kill, now they can keep hunting down at M&S. The superstars, the carries, the playmakers. It's a double for M&S. They knew he was in the bush. They didn't read quite where he was. They couldn't guess it. M&S punishes them for playing the guessing game. Sometimes you lose, the luck of the draw was not with them.
Yeah, Mervs, you know, having the exhaust back up, but I'm not going to talk too much about that because Kraox is going to go for the steal here.
That is your 7-kill Ezreal, who is off the rip for another 10 seconds, down to 5,000 HP. Kraox is here, is going to get chained, takes a lot of damage, that's hop over the wall, but he gets out of the culling. The Cathedral will try and hunt him. He now flashes away. Dan and FGG are still on the Baron, and Kraox has been forced away. He cannot get in. Baron secure. JDXL, off a little bit of magic and a little bit of luck, find themselves the big purple worm.
Whenever you think that, well, you know, Vanir is looking good, they're looking stable, you can never count M&S out. As you mentioned, they knew that he was in that bush, but I mean, Mercedes gets surprised still, it looks like. Didn't have time to, actually, by the looks of it, exhaust was on cooldown, I assume. But the flash, nonetheless, could have been used, but M&S, you know, too fast on his combo.
W-E. And you go.
Also, you know, getting the Nautilus flash. I mean, M&S just, as I mentioned, you can never count this guy out. Doesn't matter if he, you know, he whiffs something in the lane, got solo kill, doesn't matter. He's still gonna be such a menace in every single part of the game. And now they have a Nash on their hands with the kind of 1-3-1 comp that we talked about. Let's see how much damage they can do. And
now I'm looking at a death cap in M&S's inventory. If he wasn't popping Merbs before, I think he'll be popping him now.
Man, this guy is so annoying, man.
There are 2 stopwatches in inventory for Ericsson and Merbs, and I think they are quite necessary right now, as M&S has found a very terrifying
Man, he's
Blank
level
angle.
16. Like, how?
That's what he gets for split pushing. That's the solo experience. He's just gonna go. Where is he? He's looking for Ericsson.
No.
2-level advantage. That's a dead LeBlanc. Oh my god, doesn't quite manage to find it. The ult is popped. He can't quite get the kill, but half the health bar of the Ahri disappears. Not a dead LeBlanc, a dead Ahri is what I was looking for. Either way, one femme fatale just about gets out alive as the other tries to look for the solo kill. Cries in a spot of bother as Ericsson uses the last charge of the Spirit Rush to get out of dodge. And Ericsson is a player we had some worries about potentially coming into Division 1. Got demoted out of Div 2. We've seen him in NLC and he's never really had the best time, but great early start to this game. Very proactive early on. Problem is right now M&S has decided to come and show why he is so dominant in this league, as his play towards the mid and later stage of this game has been pretty terrifying. Oh,
This is...
doesn't quite steal it.
Still a splash.
Goes back to dodge the engage that gets it back in for a ethereal chain as well. It is all a bait and switch, and they get Crayox. He's down.
It just goes so fast. Right? Do they think that they can maybe catch M&S out? As I say that, Hezero comes up with a TP, but not gonna accomplish much. I was gonna say before that it's just so crazy that you have to respect M&S this much. You know, Ericsson, if that plan was not there, he was gonna get solo killed, and he has to respect, even so close to his base, he just has to play scared against M&S. And I mean, I just have to go back to this. Like, even though Ericsson was super solid in the lane, he was constantly first on objectives, constantly first on the bot dive. M&S now, as you mentioned, with the split push, is 2 levels up, and he's just been taking over, man.
Look, I know LeBlanc has a magic trick which makes your health bar disappear, but I'd like to see a new trick at this point, please. Just like that gold was in Ericsson's favor 10 minutes ago. That has been a rapid switch over towards M&S. Couple solo kills, a massive shutdown on Merbs, a Baron power play, and certainly the gold looking significantly better for JDXL, whose early game woes seem a long way behind them now.
And this is just what you cannot afford to happen, right? You know, Vanir put so many eggs into the Merv's basket, which is, I mean, rightfully so, right? He played super well in Monday's game. He was super clean on the Saya. But when stuff like this happen, you are so fed. You have basically all your team's gold. Then you get one shot. You're just completely out of it. So much gold being lost there. As I say that though, Ericsson with the TP coming in, 25 seconds to the third Drake.
M&S was looking for a little bit of poke there, but Merbs now with a stopwatch and a Hex Drinker, trying their absolute best to not have that happen again. There is no real full penetration for the likes of M&S right now. He's got a Shadow Flame and a Zork Boot, so some decent flat pen, but no Void Staff yet. So the Hex Drinker definitely going to be providing some decent utility right now. All the same though, Cries get through one tower and will get through the inhibitor tower in trade. Yes, the Drake is up, but Cries must be answered in the side lane as the World Ender pop from Hezero. I don't know how well he's going to trade out. Forces a flash from Cries. He's a long way off Mega. That's a decent trade out. They know where he is from the force alteration, but the Death Dance is actually going to force the Flash to try and trade that one out. Won't quite happen now with that advantage. They get in onto the Ahri. She's knocked up and knocked down. Ericsson will fall, but so will M&S, who got popped. But now Crayox is dead. Merbs gets hit by the Q and has got a health bar to work with, but they just don't feel safe enough. And now it'll be Infernal Soul point towards JDXL.
Man, there just forced the base or Cries is gonna end the game, man. It's so looking on Hezero. It's level 18, man. This guy is popping off completely with the Triforce, with the Wits End, completely split push build. He's going for more, man.
He knows what he needs to do in this game. The Aatrox couldn't make it work. Yes, he got the flash, but the Death Dance burn and walking into a bush blind costs him his life. It costs them an inhibitor and a Nexus tower, and Zaremba and Merbs are forced to leave the contest around the Infernal Drake. You might get M&S, but look at what you lost.
They're losing everything, man. Getting the third Drake as well on XL. They're getting to Soul Point, and now they have such a sizable lead. What looked like it was such a small, not a small thing, but M&S got. It all started with that catch on to Merbs, right? And they get the Nautilus as well, getting the Nash, and after that it's just kind of history. XL is such an experienced team. Of course they're gonna know how to play the silence with the Baron. They get so much from that. Now they just snowball this. It just looks super clean from here, from XL.
Now with the Dead Man's Plate in inventory as well, so much easier to play the spacing game. He's got an Executioner's Calling and Hezero, this Aatrox. We saw some brilliance from it in the mid game. We saw the solo kill onto the Gnar earlier on towards the end of the laning phase, but right now it just doesn't feel like there's many answers into Cries. M&S building towards a fourth item. Merbs at 4 items himself, though, has got to be a Terror himself. M&S, good God, gets another solo kill. Dan did pop the ultimate, but it wasn't really required. Well, Paranoia in just to sort of give his mid laner a clap on the back. Solo kills by hiding in the wolf pit.
It's literally ulting there just to high five his mid lane as M&S just one taps Zero, which I mean, it just so grim, man. I really, I mean, I just respect M&S for, he can play so many different champions, you know, Finn.
Oh, the foliage in the jungle ain't trees, it's black roses.
Show,
They're blooming all over the place, not just once more, all the damn time. Turns out it's all in season as M&S hops forward one more time. Won't be able to pop that Sigil of Malice this time, but Cryox's Death Dance burns him down to about half HP, and M&S at level 17 just continues to haunt the jungles, and they'll move back towards this Baron with the two-man advantage.
You have to feel like Vanir has to kind of contest this. They have the TP onto the Aatrox. Nautilus not going to be up for the fight.
There, gonna find more damage into the chain. The double Q will cause some damage.
It's just gone.
And it just disappears. Decimated by the damaging Cryox, down at half HP. The Paranoia's back up, tries to dash away, but it's not far enough. Down into the backside does have GA, so will not fall quite yet. M&S throwing down the ethereal chains. On a rampage is Venza, who finds himself the Aatrox. I might be the enemy, says Aatrox, but I'm going to die very swiftly to the heroic actions of an Ignite on Lucian.
I actually completely forgot about the fact he still has the Ignite. Oh, so much damage though coming.
Okay, well, Venza now wishing he might have a heal as he takes a vast quantity of damage from a true shot barrage courtesy of Merbs at nearly full build. But they're going to retreat with the Baron in inventory. Kryze will move over towards the Krugs to steal a little bit more gold while he can. And XL are now 11,000 gold in the lead. They've got 2 minutes until what will be an Infernal Soul. They've got 4 items on their mid laner, 5 on their AD carry. And whatever early game troubles, it's now smooth sailing. There seems like nothing that Vanir can do.
Yeah, and I mean, we just looked at the team comps, right? Vanir kind of wants to play this kind of team fight where Merb's getting a lot of help. He's able to dish out the damage, but in these fights, both M&S and Dan with the Paranoia, they never let him damage, man. They just kind of one-tap someone from the beginning. The Merbs has to fall back. He has the Maw, but it's not nearly enough. He needs like the Cerillas as well, but even then, it's so hard for Vanir to set up a fight.
M&S just hops back again a little. Remember, this is a man who has demolished the regular season in the NLC. He's 2 levels above pretty much anybody you care to mention who's not named Zero on the enemy team. He's got 5 levels over Zaremba. That Nautilus is a very leaky diver right now. Over the wall he goes, got so much damage, it'll force a stopwatch out of Ericsson. But the Paranoia, the lights are out, and they go. Dan gets charmed, but the culling follows afterwards. It's a dead Ahri, the Temptress is gone. There is just nothing left to do. Playtime is over, and it's JDXL who've decided to get serious at the end of this. What a double for Dan. Down 1, Flare comes out, and they're going to 3 if they can get a little bit more to end it all. Merbs and Cryox, the 2 new superstars who did so well in the early game, cannot get it over the finish line. And JDXL, they struggled a little in the early game, but it'll be a 2-0 week for them.
Man, it looked grim in the beginning, but he had such control. But XL, they remained poised. And I mean, it's just, I understand it can get a little bit tiresome when we're just talking about the M&S show constantly and constantly, game after game. But what can you do when this man is playing like this?
I mean, it's the M&S show for a reason. And the thing is, honestly, Ericsson had a really good start to the game. He was more proactive in the roams. He got the solo kill. M&S was 0-1-1 for huge portions of that game. And Dan, it felt like, was the one who was really holding things together. And then the pick on Merbs happened.
It's actually exactly what you mentioned. Dan kind of holding in the team in the early game, and then M&S pops off, and from there, it's the M&S show.
What do you know? It takes a little while for Riot, it's a little delayed, but the main act still hits the stage. Credit where it is due. JDXL do end up 2-0. But we've got to keep talking here a little bit, as we'll hold on for this one a little bit, as our analysts are getting pretty, is what's going on.
Yeah,
they're going to have that
moment. Looking really good, I'm going to have to say. Finn, really, really attractive man, I have to say.
Do I need to give you guys a bit of a moment? Well, before you have that time, I have to throw it over to the desk. You will save your date for later, eh?
Thank you so much. I mean, we were in the room watching this game. We cannot move from that game. We would miss anything. We don't want to miss anything. So, Finn, you kept saying something. It's a free game. This is so easy. Champion selected.
Wait, he said that, and then it started going so bad for Excel.
Like, can you still say the same thing at the end of this game? Was it easy?
Yeah, I mean, I have a fear that it's impossible to not int against Nocturne. So I just knew eventually, like, they would just have to int, and Nocturne would just carry them and get back into the game. And it actually happened multiple times. This Nocturne pick was so useful to like catch these people off guard when they were pushing a wave they shouldn't. They were like MNS hit one chain, instant Nocturne ult. This guy pushes away vision, instant Nocturne ult. This guy's in the river when it shouldn't be, instant Nocturne ult. It's just so easy to punish people that make one little tiny mistake, and it just shows that this actually Nocturne pick, to me, was the MVP of this game.
He was the MVP, and if I may, they were saying, okay, this is the MNS show. Today, it was not the case. MNS got solo bowled in the mid lane, but then came in with the cape, flying in the air, Superman style, and he was the one saving this game.
If I may, I felt like at some point XL were playing with the keyboards and mice disconnected. Like, bot lane was pushing waves when they shouldn't be, knowing Listen is bot lane. Cry's taking completely uncharacteristic trades and like wasting his flash and then going in and dying 1 versus 2 when he knows his jungler is there ready to gank, right? So Emin is diving in for the solo kill, sure, but very uncharacteristic for him to not calculate these very small details, get charm and get solo killed himself. So I felt like in the early game, Dan had way too many fires to put out on the map. And had he not been maybe on the Nocturne pick, like Finn says, where, yes, it might sound easy to like put out all of these fires, but like...
I'm sorry to cut you off, but let's appreciate this Shane. This Shane is...
Then,
I don't know. He like felt he got a bit too confident because the chain was just too good.
I think he wanted to ignite an auto attack, but he was not in range, so he kind of...
He moved out, by the way. He walked backwards, and that's why he wasn't in range for the auto and the ignite. But again, these are like the small things that will cause problems for your team, right? Because your mid laner is no longer on the map. That gives Lee Sin rain to do whatever the heck he wants, right? Your mid laner died using ignite, and dying whilst the other mid laner has teleport, can push in the wave, TP back, he's first on the map. So these even small things can create so many problems for your team. Bot lane dying to a very predictable gank when you know your Lee Sin is there. I think that Vanir had big chances of running away with the game, but again, the Nocturne pick seemed so instrumental for this particular game because he was everywhere. He was everywhere where he needed to be. He was bailing his team out. I think he bailed Cries out from a matchup that he was losing back-to-back. He bailed bot lane out countless of times, even though the Lee Sin was there all the time. And yes, when MNS did get his items, I think we do have a replay as well for that one with his LeBlanc. He jumps into the bush. I don't know if we have that replay.
Can we see that one
as well?
There we go. Slow it down.
Bush. He has been spotted from the ward, and the Nautilus right here knows he's in the bush. But instead of the flash bonk with the passive, he goes for a very blind chain, which means that MNS gets to one-shot a very fed Ezreal, getting a shutdown from 7 kills. Ezreal as well is a huge influx of gold in his pocket. And of course, Dan is right there to also solidify the kill onto the Nautilus as well, together with MNS. So yes, MNS did pop off once he did have his items, but I feel like mid-jungle though for XL have been doing really freaking well these 2 games.
But we need to also look into Vanir in the way they played in the beginning of the game. Nobody was expecting Vanir to come so strong as they did. They were dominating. Finn, where do you think when things went south?
So I think there was one dragon fight. I mean, firstly, I think XL did a good job of stacking the early dragons. It does put them in a position where they have the option to choose. Come the 3rd dragon fight, they actually had a very deep top push. So they could have just kept using that instead of being forced into these team fights. Because I think with the XL's comp, if you can get early drakes, it allows you to play for side lanes way more consistently because it gives you this freedom that you are not now drawn to the drakes as the other team is. So if you're playing a 1-3-1 comp and you get early drakes, it just makes the game way more easy for you to play. And I think that's a huge part why they could actually, even though Vanir was winning early game, they did lose the 2 first drakes and it did make it harder for them to actually snowball.
This is why JDXL got this W, the 2nd W, making them undefeated. And we'll take this opportunity to talk with Venzer that is waiting for us, the bot lane. And there you go. Hello, Venzer. Welcome back. Okay, the early game was not going as you expected, was it?
Yeah, I mean, wasn't going exactly as expected. Did a bit of a limit test, too much in bot lane. Tried to 2v3, did not work out.
Enemy jungle was a bit too good.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's showing up like that.
Yeah, I blame Dan for that, though.
Tell me, Trevor.
All right, Venza, of course, you have joined JDXL together with FGG, your support from Dusty. How have you found yourself integrated in the team so far?
I mean, so far it's been pretty good. A bit different than what we're used to, at least what we were used to on Dusty. It's a different style of play, but I mean, we're still getting used to it, but I think we're getting there.
Okay, can you tell me, because everybody want to know, can you tell me how is it to work with Torok as a coach? Because nobody shuts up about Torok.
I mean, it's very good until he tells you to be one Ash, then it stops being that good.
That
But,
sounds a bit unpleasant, yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's pretty fun. I
So
can
you
say
have
that.
like 911 on speed dial when you're on Champions
Remix,
Select
please.
with Torok.
Torok is a good coach. Sometimes he just has interesting ideas.
I like the word interesting ideas.
Yeah,
Well, wait. Was the interesting capitalized or?
Sometimes not. Okay.
All right, perfect.
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay, to wrap it up, Vanzer, tell me, what are you expecting from the rest of the split? Because JDXL are coming in and telling everybody, okay, what happened at playoffs was something that happened. We're going to forget about that. Summer split is a different split.
Yeah, I mean, that's not gonna happen again. Like, I can promise you that. We're here to win and we're here to go far in New Masters. There is no other option here.
Confidence. This is what I like, Vanzer. Thank you so much for the interview.
Lovely.
Good luck on the rest of the split. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you for having me. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, mate.